This is the Yanks Go Yard podcast with Adam Weinrib and Thomas Carannante.
Welcome to the Yanks Go Yard podcast. I'm Adam Weinrib alongside Thomas Carannante, taking care of business every day, taking care of business every way. The New York Yankees went into Oakland this weekend. Goodbye, House of Horrors. We love that stadium. We also hate that stadium. Final series they'll ever play there before the A's become the Sacramento downtown Modesto, East Vegas, Western Colorado Gallivanters. I don't really know what's in their future. A's fans got screwed. A's fans probably are going to decide not to be A's fans pretty soon if they haven't already. You caught yourself for a moment being like, it'd be nice to give them, a moment against the Yankees in this last series, like a walk-off or something. And then you're like, wait, no, wouldn't. Fuck that. And that's where I ended up. Yankees needed to win some games. Yankees needed to make sure they went into this Baltimore series with an advantage of over 3 games in the AL East. As ridiculous as that sounds, you need to sweep-proof yourself. So that if the Orioles sweep you, you are not tied for the division with 3 remaining. And I was like, well, 4 would be okay, and 5 would be better. And it's pretty great. 6 is awesome. Yankees won all 3 games in Oakland. The Orioles lost twice. The Detroit Tigers, so that prevents the Yankees' ability to clinch the AL East on the road. But now they come home after defeating the A's in 2 tight ones and a blowout. That was fun all around, all across the board. The tight one on Friday was won in extraordinary fashion. Great players made great plays. Injury scare became a dramatic moment in the 10th. Then Saturday was gravy from the first pitch to the last one. And Sunday was, they couldn't quite pull away. The A's had some great defense. The A's got a big hit with 2 outs against a reliever who'd been untouchable. And then our closer came in and cleaned up Clay Holmes' mess once again. The Orioles lost a couple of games, and now all it's going to take is 1 Yankees victory over the Orioles to clinch the AL East, and failing that, which would be pretty embarrassing, but is possible, just 1 Yankees victory in the final series against the Pirates as well. So they will clinch the AL East if they win 1 game, or if the Orioles lose 1 game. But of course, the Yankees play the Orioles, so that's not possible for the Orioles to lose 1 and the Yankees not to win 1. Until that series is over, if you're keeping track of clinch possibilities. The magic number to clinch the best record in the American League is now down to just 3. The Guardians are the competitors there. They've got 5 games on their schedule, and the Yankees have 6. So if the Yankees win 3, there's nothing the Guardians can do. The Guardians play the Astros. The Guardians could do something. They could drop something along the way. Either there's something to play for, but there's less to play for than we thought. We figured let's just do a good old happy recap of the A's series, favorite moments, and then on to postseason planning, because we can do that now. And hey, before we toss it to the ad read, moment of celebration, just a party moment up top. The Houston Astros cannot catch us in the regular season standings this year. Obviously, they could beat us in a playoff series head-to-head. We all know that. Respect to the Astros. Nobody wants to see them. You're probably going to have to see them at some point, regardless of your seeding, because they don't go away. But this is the first time since 2015 that the Yankees will have home field advantage over the Astros in a hypothetical meeting this October. The Yankees are 7 games up on them with 6 to play. That is done. 2015, we lost the 1-game wildcard game at home to Dallas Keuchel. Don't remind me, but 2017 might have been different if we'd gone to 6 and 7 at home instead of on the road. 2019, 6 and 7 on the road, not fun. Allowed us to get walked off. 2022, games 1 and 2 on there. We fought all year long. It looked like they were going to win 130 games at some point. And then when push came to shove, they did not do that. And the Astros won more games and then got to put up a 2-0 ALCS lead on us and shell-shocked us. And then Garrett Cole got rocked, and that was over. And 6 people went to game 4. The Yankees will have home field advantage on the Astros if they play. Games 1 and 2 of any series will be at Yankee Stadium. And now this week is all about figuring out exactly what you've got and how much mojo you have heading into the playoffs, as well as keeping your players in bubble wrap. And here to talk us through the weekend, the week that is to be, and playoff roster projections, and a very important message is Thomas Carannante.
Yes, welcome everybody. I just remembered those 2018 and 2019 Astros teams. Fucking 103 and 107 wins. Get out of here.
Well, and then when we needed them to go beat the Red Sox in 2018, what did they do? Take game 1 on the road. Red Sox, you guys were celebrating too early. You forgot what it's like to get Astros. Oh, wait. Then they completely fell apart and Boston took it in 5.
Yeah, so it'll be good this time around. Need to show out in the Bronx if it comes to that. But first, before we get into it, Underdog Fantasy is here. Please take a swing at Pick'em Baseball this season on Underdog. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog. You can win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats, like strikeouts, total bases, home runs, you name it. I just signed up on my account. I'm getting in the groove. I'm going to rope Adam in soon. Talked about that last week. I think we're going to get our ducks in a row for playoff baseball because, man, that's when the props are hot. Underdog is super easy to play, and it's even easier to get started. Go to their easy-to-use mobile app or head on over to UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with our promo code GOYARD, and Underdog will give you a mystery special pick to use on your first Pick'em entry, plus a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Fun coupons. That's Underdog Fantasy. Once again, the promo code GOYARD to claim your new customer special of a mystery player pick, and your deposit offer must be 18 or older, 21 or older in Massachusetts and Arizona, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Plenty of other resources for that too. Anyway, that's Underdog Fantasy.
Sure is.
Yard podcast here. Yankees sweep in Oakland. Yeah, I must say, positive podcast, and it's been a while. We had Danny Wexelman on last week. She brought the good vibes. Very appreciative of that because we're usually, it's 1/3 of the episode we're talking about how things are good, and the other 2/3 are like, yeah, but we also have stuff to worry about, and I don't want to talk about the things I have to worry about. I'm liking the way the field is shaping up. I said this earlier. I'll say it again. As long as the Yankees just can find a semblance of consistency, I'm still a little bit concerned with the offense. It's just a little bit, but pitching stepping up when it needs to, timely hits coming in when they need to. The one thing that I was worried about when I was splicing a bunch of stats, it was heading into the A's series. The Yankees were 11-4 in their last 15 games. Or heading into Sunday's game, they were 11-4 in their last 15 games and only averaged 4.1 runs a game. And that's with 3 games in there where they scored 10 or more runs. So goes to show that there needs to be a little bit more of a consistency on the offensive front in order to make that true leap in the playoffs. It's not all going to be perfect. We know how this goes. Playoff baseball is the hardest it could possibly be. Every at-bat counts. It's all high stakes. You're facing the best pitching, this, and that. But I would say, for as much as we criticize this team for not being fully ready from management down because of, calling Jason Dominguez up late, welcoming bullpen arms late in the season to take on bigger roles, moving Clay Holmes out of the closer role 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, whatever it was. Seems like things are coming together. Sweep in Oakland is big, whether you want to downgrade the A's because of their overall 2024 season, but the A's give a lot of teams trouble. They don't lie down. They've been solid this year. They have players. So I'm not waving this off as, nonsense. They should have swept that. They don't usually sweep that, especially in this venue. So props to this team battling all weekend. You get a well-earned day off today. Series against the Orioles. You win one, you're AL East champs. Don't have to worry about the hangover coming too close to the start of the playoffs. So cheers.
Yeah, I had the Yankees losing 2 out of 3 in this series, and I didn't even mean that as a criticism necessarily. Like, West Coast trips are hard. They usually struggle on West Coast trips. They had a number of guys in major slumps entering the series, more specifically Austin Wells, Jazz Chisholm, Anthony Volpe, and you're wondering, hey, does a day off or 2 every once in a while help rejuvenate Volpe? So we can stop saying, is this guy just an average to bad ball player? What is he? Well, whatever they did in the Mariners series certainly worked in this one. He had a 3-hit night and hit a 421-foot homer, his longest baseball hit since joining the big league New York Yankees. So keep that rolling, please. Giancarlo Stanton slumping entering this series. Keep that rolling, please. Hit a megaton home run to really ignite the scoring and get the blowout rolling on Friday night. The Oakland A's are not bad. I think a lot of people needed a reality check because they just know that they're getting major leagued by their owner and they're moving and they're run by people who don't care about baseball. But they're 36-42 at home this season. So entering this series, they were 36-39. They've given these fans a lot. Second half of the year entering this series, 30-25. they've been an above 500 baseball team in the second half of the season. Mark Kotsay has done an incredible job. Brent Rooker is an all MLB team candidate. Zach Geloff, astounding rookie from last year, is struggling this season, but that's a guy with a lot of talent, a lot of pedigree. Shea Langoliers is a 30 homer bat. Seth Brown is a guy that we've talked about the Yankees acquiring in the past. JJ Bleday is a budding star. Lawrence Butler, maybe the best power hitter in baseball in August, though his defense was dreadful in this series. Sad for the New Jersey boy. But the top 6 or 7 in the lineup every night, you go, that is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's a lot of young pitchers with low 4 ERAs. So if you bake in that JP Sears is going to beat you, they only have to win one of the other 2 games, and they almost won the first one. 1-1 in the 10th. So Yankees won a couple of nail biters. But if you're trying to get negative about this series, a lot of the questions and that the people plaguing that bad offense all turned things around in the first couple of games of the series and ended up showing us a lot more than we expected. Clay Holmes is almost, it's unbelievable how he's just magnetically attracted to blown saves. He's almost got himself another one in a 5-4 game in the 8th yesterday. He doesn't even pitch the 9th anymore. And he's still, that's 2 blown saves since being demoted from the closer role and almost a 3rd yesterday.
It's Aaron Boone's got to stop. That's got to stop.
Crazy. We need to start considering. I mean, it does. We'll talk about the postseason roster in a bit. It does cloud things a bit because you have to sort of consider Clay Holmes to be akin to a Mark Leiter Jr. So when you're carrying like Leiter, we got to bring him on the roster, but he's going to be the last guy out of the bullpen. He'll never come in a close game. Can Holmes come in a close game? The most inexplicable, the thing that like will scramble my brain the most maybe about these last couple weeks of baseball is that we got through that whole Red Sox series without a Clay Holmes meltdown. Mm-hmm. That included extra innings. Clay Holmes was brought in to toe the line, and he got at, I was like, all right, how many runs are you going to give up in the top of the 10th? 0, but it's not like he fixed himself because every other appearance since then, he's been terrible. So he's an auto blown save at this point. But yeah, don't want to get too negative. The Yankees entering this series from July 2012 to present had lost 26 of 39 games at the Coliseum. 6-5 the last couple of years, barely over 500 against a team that's been phoning it in. But that 26 of 39, you're going to Oakland, you're almost automatically getting swept. That's what that says. And the Yankees swept the A's this weekend. And the rest of the playoff picture fell down nicely around him with the O's struggling with the Tigers slipping in there as the Twins struggled, so the Red Sox couldn't gain too much ground. By the way, if the Red Sox don't get eliminated soon, I will scream barf. I will barf and scream at the exact same time. They're so close. They're so close to their season being over, but the Kansas City Royals have losing streaks of 8 and 7 in the last month of baseball. So both the Royals and Tigers are 4 games up on the Red Sox with 6 to play, with the Twins 3 games up on them, with the Mariners 2 games up on them. That is so close to elimination. And yet, because the Kansas City Royals have to win 3 games to hold on to that playoff spot above the Red Sox. Do I have faith that they're going to go 3-3 in the next 6? They've just lost 7 and 8 straight in 2 separate opportunities. So no. Are the Twins going to hold off the Red Sox? They really should, but they really stink. And the Red Sox lose one of the worst played baseball games I've ever seen on Friday night to Minnesota. And then a rain out on Saturday. So it's a doubleheader for Sunday. Those are like split city. It's so easy to split those. The Twins get battered 17-4 across 2 games by the Boston Red Sox, who lose Rafael Devers between game 1 and game 2 of that series. And yet the Red Sox still win 2 to keep their season alive. I hate this franchise. I hate everything that they stand for. And I hate relying on the dregs of the AL Central, like the Twins and Royals and Mariners, to keep them at bay. But I guess we will see. Again, very close to elimination, very close to some fun Alex Cora tweets, but not quite there yet. Bunch of losers are just ahead of them in the standings. And the Tigers, though, great weekend. The New York Yankees are now, at this point, the 1 seed. Tigers and Orioles are in the 4-5. Winner of that series will be dangerous no matter what. If the Yankees are able to hold on to the top seed, that'll be a pretty scary ALDS. But also, I would say you prefer that top seed over the seed that gets you the Houston Astros in the best of 5 series. That's a pass to me. I'm going to pass on that.
I would love if the Astros had to get caught with the Tigers or the Royals. I think those are matchup nightmares for the pitching.
The Royals can't win a game, but also there isn't a single Royal starter who I look at in a playoff series and I'm like, well, that guy's going to get blown out. Like,
exactly.
Not a one.
And you have Tarek Skubal, who it's just like, that swings a series, man. And whatever pitching plan they've been going with over these last 2 months since the trade deadline has been working. So like that's scary. I'm glad the Yankees can avoid those teams if they keep up this play. Like I don't want to play the Royals in a playoff series. They're super athletic. They have good veteran leadership and they have really good pitching. I know their bullpen's a little bit shaky, but again, if Seth Lugo's their top guy, and then they have Reagans and Brady Singer, like those guys can go 6 innings in a playoff game.
And Michael Wacha owns us, certainly owns us.
And so the Tigers, it seems like that entire pitching staff is just up for the task. And again, it just matters. How many years have we seen it, right? We're sitting here and we're talking about the Yankees bullpen a couple of weeks ago. We're like, oh, they might not be ready for the playoffs. And then like in 2021, Tyler Matzik has a 5 ERA, and then he just blows through the competition. Who was it last year? Josh Sborz for the Rangers, 5 ERA, blows through the competition. It happens every single year. Few guys catch fire, but these pitching staffs are ready. The playoffs are a week and a half away. Like this is as close as we're going to possibly get, and these teams are not slowing down. And I would like to toot the early horn, just a little early toot, because the Orioles are 6 games back of us. A lot of shit talking from their fans, rightfully so, in July, saying they weren't scared of the Yankees, but we rebutted and we said, we're not scared of you. You haven't done anything. Don't know if I'm scared of you in a playoff series. Actually, I do know I'm not. And now you look at the Orioles, they are 4 games better than the Detroit Tigers, who were sub 500 on August 11th. So that's how far the Orioles have fallen over what? They've been sliding since the Yankees have been sliding. And then the only difference is that the Yankees have gone 12-3 in their last 15 games, which has made up the difference. And the Orioles are still treading water. Terrible trade deadline from them, terrible offseason from them, supplementing this young look. We said the Orioles may have ruined their best chance to take over this division for the next 5 to 10 years by not supplementing their roster. Craig Kimbrell, DFA, that was a $13 million expenditure to bolster the back end of the bullpen. They passed on a couple of bats that probably would have helped out here with all these younger players. And as everybody knows, like, yeah, it's fun to have the young upstart squad, but that doesn't get you far in the playoffs. You need the veteran cohesion around it. You need the veteran leadership around it, and they don't really have that. So, yeah, just fact checking, because we're usually, I'm usually a dumbass, and I'm happy to say it, but wasn't a dumbass about that. Seems like that's coming together exactly how we had projected. And again, not speaking too soon, but Orioles are in trouble, in my opinion. This is not good for them right now.
And I don't know what's in the water in Boston. The drafting and development there has been great, but we thought the Orioles were going to be the young class of the AL East. And it would be like, well, the Yankees are going to spend every year to maintain their edge, but the O's have all these homegrown players. Roman Anthony, Kyle Teo, Marcelo Meyer, Christian Campbell, Wilyer Abreu. I don't like Ceddanne Rafaela, but Ceddanne Rafaela, I mean, Boston needs pitching. Boston's not there yet, but I went into this season thinking Boston was going to suck. And or not suck, but be about what they've been. They should be eliminated already. They're a 500 team, but they're not, because the wild card picture is embarrassed. I thought they'd be about a 500 team this year, and I think they'll be really, honestly, pretty good next year and something akin to last year's Orioles. So Baltimore was supposed to take that by the horns and be the young gun team in the AL East, and they're not. They absolutely are not. They should. There's no reason they shouldn't be right up there with the Yankees this year, but they're 6 back. And all you heard all year was, oh, you got to bring – we got this endless group of guys from the minors. Bring them up. Can't be stopped. Kobe Mayo, we're so good. Kobe Mayo's at AAA. Kobe Mayo went 4 for 41 this year and subtracted 0.7 WAR in his, 3 weeks in Major League Baseball. His OPS plus is -10. So when you think you've got it, we got prospects for days. Nobody can touch us. We've got prospects. All right, show me the prospects at the big league level. Jackson Holiday.
Yeah, they don't all pan out. Sorry, guys.
I mean, yeah, again, that's the thing. When I'm rattling, I'm not saying the Red Sox can be great next year, but I'm rattling off 7 guys. And if 4 of them are good, they'll be a good team. Jackson Holiday's hitting 169 with a 227 OBP this year. Jackson Holiday makes Anthony Volpe look like Barry Bonds. So we'll see. But it looks like the Orioles are probably going to have an extra hurdle before they get to potentially advance to play the Yankees in the first round. And I don't think I would pick them to advance out of the first round. And by the way, Anthony Santander, 40 home run man, pricing himself out of Baltimore. Corbin Burns pricing himself out of Baltimore, even though he's struggling, because Mike Elias, just not how he does it. He's banking on the core. He's like, why isn't everybody Gunnar Henderson? We shall see. we shall see, man. But money's not getting spent. Do a little favorite moments from the Oakland series and some nerve-wracking moments. I mean,
yeah. Let's start with the obvious. I mean, night one, Garrett Cole.
Yeah.
We heard all the bullshit. And look, we were very critical of that outing against the Red Sox too. Embarrassing way to do it.
Hard not to be.
Way to do it. Like, wrong. All wrong. Terrible coming from a player of his stature who should know better. Terrible coming from Aaron Boone, who has been managing this team for 7 years. Terrible from the coaching in general, because they've had 7 years to approach Rafael Devers and strategize pitching around him, and they have not figured that out yet. And then they swing in the complete other direction and make a wrong decision in that manner. But how do you rebound in any better way? I guess obviously the only better way would have been if Garrett Cole finished this game and got the official complete game. He gave up 1 run.
He gave up 1 run. Pitch count was clean.
Yeah, 99 pitches, 66 strikes, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. The only way this ends better is if the game is over after the bottom of the 9th, but they go to extras. Luke Weaver shuts the door. And then after the fact, Jameson Taillon goes on social media, talks some shit on all the haters who were, because look, I will even say there's been a lot of Garrett Cole doubt outside of like Red Sox fans. And I know we obviously zone in on Red Sox fans for obvious reasons, but everybody, like the national media is like, are we sure like Garrett Cole, he's not really back to form yet? It's like, he is. Put the scenario in front of him and Garrett Cole will be back, or as back as he possibly could. This is a guy who missed the first 2.5 months, 3 months of the season with a serious elbow injury that initially was believed to maybe take him out for the entire year. And now he's pitching to a mid-3s ERA. Like, yeah, you're not getting a 2.5 ERA out of Garrett Cole the year after he finished as the Cy Young winner and dealing with elbow problems. Just not going to happen that way. As long, all that matters is that he gets the innings underneath his belt that he needs to for the remainder of the season, and he goes into the playoffs hot. So this was the best possible final, not final tune-up, because he's going to start one more time, but like, nice to see him going the distance before the year ends, to know like, oh shit, that's in there. Great. If we hit an offense on a cold night, Garrett Cole's going 8 if his pitch count is manageable. So that was my favorite moment. And my second favorite moment was the Dominguez home run yesterday. Mm-hmm. We go down 2-0. How many times have we laughed at the Yankees? They had the worst record in the league after going down following the first inning. Mm-hmm. I don't know how that's whole. I think the last time we talked about that was a few weeks ago, so that number's probably changed. But
it was when they really sucked, and now they suck a little bit less.
That 2-run bomb, just relentless, because they beat the A's, from a mental perspective in extras on Friday. Then they bludgeon them on Saturday 10-0, and then the A's take the lead on Sunday, and it's like, oh, great, we have some cushion. Nope, you actually don't. Dominguez fucking flies one out to right field, absolute rocket. And that's one of the X factors, man. If he can get on, I know there's not a lot of time left, which is why we were frustrated with the promotion. He only has a week now to kind of get on track. He's going to be on the postseason roster. I would have liked to have seen a hotter stretch, but maybe that's the start of a nice little 6-game stretch here if he gets in, or at least 5-game stretch here if he gets in for most of the games against the Orioles and the Pirates. So, those are my 2 favorites.
Yeah, I mean, hard not to say Cole. And the Taillon tweet, so funny, saying, like, I've seen a lot of bad opinions about this guy. It's true. I mean, Garrett Cole, you sign a deal like that and you're coming off the Astros season, and the tweet is so overdone at this point. We've all seen the stats from 2019 with the Astros or whatever. Sticky stuff. A lot of fans decided to be embarrassing about that. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not sure there's a guy you'd rather have on the mound in game 1 of a playoff series across all of Major League Baseball since he became a Yankee than Garrett Cole. And that's not to say stinkers are impossible. The Red Sox got him in 2021 on a bum hamstring. He wasn't even that bad in that game. Just gave up a home run early and a couple of runs, and it's a 1-game winner take all. You yank him. But Cleveland down 2-1 in 2022 on the road in the DS, smoked them. 2020, a very strange postseason. Shane Bieber having the season of his life. Bieber, Cole in game 1. Bieber gets lit up early and Cole smokes the Guardians. Just some really high level. I mean, game 1 and game 4 of the 2022 DS. Yeah, I gave up some home runs against the Astros in the CS when they were doomed. You're going to find bad postseason starts in anybody's resume. Clayton Kershaw straight up cannot pitch in October. Justin Verlander in the World Series. You can't win a game in the World Series. DS and CS, he's fine, mostly against us. It's probably an us thing. But when he gets to the World Series, doesn't win baseball games. Aaron Nola struggled. Like, consummate ace across, and a guy who I know is going to lead us to October every year and then take the ball in game 1. I'll take Garrett Cole over everybody. That is not to say that he is always going to deliver, because nobody does. But all things considered, all the Red Sox fans making fun of Kerman, making fun of his voice, because that's all you got. And the Devers thing, because that's all you got. Like, you're going to finish around 500 this year and just still be hanging your laurels on the Devers intentional walk and some meaningless home runs in June. Like, get cooked. I hope. Fingers crossed. Again, the elimination cannot come soon enough. Mm-hmm. At the very least, the Yankees need to clinch the division so they don't have to see 4 games with 6 to play is so many. Just somebody finish them the fuck off, please. But either way, like, I'll take Garrett Cole over any of their guys. And they're, you call Garrett Cole a coward. I know you did. I know Cutter Crawford did. And Cutter Crawford had a chance to really – Red Sox would be like 2 games out if Cutter Crawford could pitch on that Sunday at Yankee Stadium, but he couldn't. So, oh well. Bad opinions. Jameson Tyone, you're welcome back anytime. My favorite moment was the entirety of the Cole start, I think, but I'll also add and say the Gleyber dead center home run, because it's like, lead off Gleyber's one thing. Gleyber going dead center, 400 plus feet, that cavernous ballpark in Oakland, kind of effortlessly. You saw that one. It wasn't a Stantonian home run. It was just like, that's rising and that's not stopping, and that's just still going. And Gleyber has 400-foot power to dead center again. Mm-hmm. So I'm into that. Is it going to make us reconsider Gleyber this offseason?
Maybe.
Probably going to get a lot of content out of that once the season ends, whenever it does. But and I'll also give Luke Weaver the not yesterday's save, which was not delightful, but I'm going to give him the extra inning save on Friday night, because again, you guys want to talk mess about Oakland. You can do whatever you want to do. You can think that this is a terrible team and how are the Yankees and extras with this team and what are we doing? Again, above 500 with a great offense since the All-Star break. And here's what he's got with a 3-run lead in the bottom of the 10th. JJ Bleday, good ball player, and he singles to start it all off. So 4-2, runner on first, the tying run coming to the plate 3 times. It's Langoliers, it's Seth Brown, and it's Zach Geloff, who hit a huge home run earlier this season at Yankee Stadium to take one late. Back when we thought the A's were a walkover. Remember that? When it was like, how are you not sweeping this team? You are unserious. And it's like, you got to let it play out. It's like the Giants and the Vikings, week 1. Like, I don't think the New York Giants are very good, but the Minnesota Vikings are a powerhouse at this point. So everybody being like, how are you getting blown out by the Vikings? Like, they might go 13-4. Like, I told us nothing. Sam Darnold's good. They beat out the Texans, or everybody's trendy Super Bowl pick, and they whomped them this week. So similar, like, I don't know, Geloff homers late. You lose a tight game to Oakland with Mason Miller and these flamethrowers in the bullpen. Yeah, that kind of makes sense, actually. That's a thing that happens over the course of a baseball season. And the Yankees corrected a little bit this week. Luke Weaver, tying run 3 times, 3 heavy hitters, and he gets them all swinging. So not just outs recorded, but strikeout. I'm giving Luke Weaver credit for that. Was there a moment that almost made you poop your pants in this series? I think there's one sort of that stands above the rest. So if you're nervous, Cole coming out for the 9th, or Clay Holmes coming in the 8th on Sunday. But I mean, we got to talk about Juan Soto being scratched Friday. Because I don't know. I mean, look, I didn't think he should be playing Friday. I was surprised to see him in the lineup to begin with. This whole series was about distancing yourself from the Orioles and hoping the Tigers won, but this wasn't a must-win series. I don't want to see them take their foot off the gas pedal. They took care of business and they really let us exhale entering this weekend. I'm thankful they did that. But you were not at a position entering this series up 4 games in the East with 9 remaining with the Orioles ahead of you. You don't need Juan Soto in the Friday night game.
No.
But you definitely don't need him if he's compromised in the lineup in right field. And I'm glad they learned their lesson. I guess they made him test it before the game, but he shouldn't have been starting that game anyway. And as long as it was no big deal, that's fine. He didn't even have to play in the series. Somehow he manages to work his way into extra innings, and somehow he starts both of the final 2 games of the series in the outfield, which, look, I'm not the manager. I wouldn't have done that. I guess it didn't matter. I guess he was fine. But a brief poop pants moment, but logically, there's no need for poop.
Yeah, I paused my Friday night pizza venture to write about this because I saw that he was in the lineup, and I said to myself, why? And I guess I should put more things out in the public so people could see my paper trail of how my brain operates. So, I mean, even the day before in Seattle, the Thursday, you're just like, get out of the fucking game. Why are you staying in the game when this happened? He's fine. Don't care that he's fine. Something else could happen. You're going to lose this one anyway. Everyone's hungover, run down, whatever. Logan Gilbert's on the mound. Fucking call it, because you're probably going to lose. They lose anyway. Juan Soto plays an extra few innings that he didn't need to. Okay, great. Immediately in the lineup on Friday. Okay, maybe he's all right, but also why? Not laughing that we're playing the A's. Again, I think the A's have talent, and they're not a team to overlook. But if there was a series to keep Juan Soto out, it would be a road one against the Oakland Athletics while he's coming off a knee injury.
Gigantic outfield, and let's be honest, not totally well taken care of. A lot of concrete, a lot of foul territory. The owners hate the fans in this ballpark. So if I'm trying to decide where I'm going to have Juan Soto play the outfield on a bum knee, it's not going to be in the stadium they're abandoning in 4 days, where ownership is like, we don't care about any of you. Like, I'd rather sit him out.
Yeah. I was sitting there and I said, you know what? They put him back in the Seattle game. The least they could do is just say, you're off Friday. Enjoy. Take a breather. Or what you could have done is just okay, you're off Friday. You'll play Saturday. We'll monitor Sunday. If not, you get 2 days off because we're off Monday. The way that some guys have been swinging the bat, the way that Aaron Boone's actually been working this lineup pretty nicely, there was no need to force it. And then you get notification 30 minutes later after he was in the starting lineup that he's been scratched with knee swelling and soreness, which did not appear in the 30 minutes between him being named to the starting lineup or him being put in the starting lineup until he was scratched.
He slammed his knee on the ground repeatedly to see if it would swell up, and it did, unfortunately, in the half hour before the game. So we had to make a judgment call. Yeah, no, I mean, he was trying to play through something, and there was no need.
So why are we doing that? Why are we even taking the risk? And look, I don't know. We're not there. We don't know what the injury is. It could have just been a minor bruise, and the training staff said he's fine. Juan Soto said, I'm good to play, but always exercise caution because the injury history and the injury happenings with this team are always excessive and unforeseen, and they feel impossible. So why are we gonna press our luck when there's no need to? You're in the driver's seat. The Orioles keep losing. You took this. You made the playoffs in Seattle. I don't know. Either way, Juan Soto comes through in the 10th in that game, starts the next 2 games, ends up, probably playing a role in this team sweeping the series, or very much playing a role in this team sweeping the series. So I'm not going to complain about that, but it's more so just landing on a decision and knowing that it's the right one. And I think in most people's opinion, the right one was Juan Soto's resting Friday night. And we're not even going to, because the whole thing is like, you're going to create a controversy no matter what, right? You put him in the starting lineup. People are like, oh, wow, he's okay. That's interesting. Let's see him play. This will be a talking point. Or you put him in the starting lineup and you remove him and you create panic, which is exactly what happened among Yankee fans on Friday. They said, oh, great, we're fucked. When in reality, all you do on Thursday, Aaron Boone in the presser, we're going to give him the night off tomorrow. So there's no speculation. It's just like he needs a night off. He's been playing a ton. He banged his knee. We're not going to take any chances.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if other fan bases are like Yankee fans, but like you can't put out a lineup graphic without people scanning it to see if Judge or Soto are playing. Yeah. And again, like Aaron Judge, you need to keep this guy as healthy as you can. He does get banged up. He's a man with a body unlike most human beings. So like he actually can't be playing 162 games. And yet when he does get a random day off, like you've got the 17-year-old fan patrol scanning the tweet like, oh my God, wait, what the hell? Oh my God, wait, why? Like There are so many bad things about social media. I'm really not sure what the worst one is, but one of them is definitely that if a player just is not playing on one day, like the social media blaze that ensues, when in reality, like you could just randomly bench people in the 80s and 90s and no one, like Paul O'Neill just wouldn't be in the lineup. You'd show up at the stadium and Joe Torre would be like, hey, he's feeling okay. Might pinch hit later, probably play tomorrow. And everyone would go, okay, I don't care. That seems very normal. But nowadays, Aaron Judge gets one day off and like, you know, every local high school is setting off fire alarms. Juan Soto in the lineup. I didn't think he should have been, and then taken out of the lineup. I thought that was the right call. Then he shows up in the 10th inning and wins the game for the New York Yankees. He's a really good baseball player, and you can't keep him off the field. He's a wild man. But yeah, I pooped my pants a little bit. You don't want to see anybody get scratched. Seeing the praises. I mean, who were the unsung heroes of this weekend? Everybody really came together, but I will give Carlos Rodon just another bouquet of flowers here because. Awesome. Middle of the start of the season, you're like, this, I guess, isn't the worst contract of all time. I guess maybe there's something left to be mined from Carlos Rodon. Middle of the season when he's going, 5-0 holes in the first inning against teams like the Toronto Blue Jays, and you're like, how did we regress? Why are we back here? What are we doing? And then August and September, he has become a bona fide number 2 starter. There are no questions asked. We're about to start talking about playoff rosters and all that stuff. When you're trying to figure out who should get the ball behind Garrett Cole in game 2, for my money, there's just one answer here because I think every other pitcher in the rotation is a hybrid option right now. It depends on what you need. Mm-hmm. Like Clark Schmidt, Nestor Cortez, Luis Gil, Marcus Stroman, a couple of those guys are going to get starts. I have faith that those people will contribute positively. Stroman, I'm going to need to see something over the last 6 games. Maybe a longer bullpen appearance. Maybe you clinch. I'm just saying, clinching Tuesday would be great because then maybe Marcus Stroman can throw 5 innings on Wednesday. And you'll just be like, oh, now I know more about what that would look like against the Orioles. But we got another guy I'd love to see. Really wanted to see him yesterday. I'll talk about this in a second. I wouldn't mess around with Carlos Rodon at all, not one iota. I'm not saying he should absolutely start game 2. In my opinion, that's where you go. But I'm just saying he is a starter. No Rodon out of the bullpen, no Rodon swingman, no cutesy stuff with Rodon. Whether it's game 2 or 3, he is the starting pitcher for that game. You have to pull him early, then you have to pull him early because it's the playoffs. No hard feelings. If someone's in trouble, you take him out of the game. But for my money, the 2 Yankee starters who should not be messed with whatsoever are Cole and Rodon. He has earned that, and you look at as his 4-seamer usage has decreased this season and he has started to really listen to the coaching staff, he is comparable to similar pitcher to Rodon based on velocity and movement this year, according to Savant. The most comparable pitcher is Yusei Kikuchi, who has been untouchable with the Astros since joining Houston. They're 9-0 in his starts. 4-seamer getting reduced overall off-speed run value in the 90th percentile. There's a reason to reduce it. It's because your off-speed is really fucking good. Whiff percentage in the 82nd percentile. Fastball velo still in the 71st. K percentage 77th. There's a lot of good stuff on Rodon's page. He's not just lucking his way to success. And in September, 6 innings every time out, 0, 1, or 2 runs pretty much. You knew exactly what you were getting. You got another one on Saturday. It was just a Rodon start. As soon as they went up 6-0, it was never in doubt. Second place honor here. Also, Trey Sweeney, embedded Yankee Trey Sweeney, made an unbelievable diving play. The best escape I have ever seen from a reliever outside David Robertson, 09 ALDS game 2, bases loaded, no outs and extras. That's the best escape I've ever seen. Liner to first, hard grounder to first, fly out to center. That was unbelievable. The stakes in this one, Bo Breesky, 2nd and 3rd, nobody out against the O's. After Jason Foley came in, single, walk, Gunnar Henderson rips one of the gap. 2nd and 3rd, nobody out, tie game, heart of the Orioles lineup. We're going to the bullpen. This game is over. The game has ended. 2nd and 3rd, no outs against the Orioles' best players. You are not getting out of this. I don't care who you are. You throw 110, you have a chance. Breesky goes 1, 2, 3. Nobody scores. The ball doesn't leave the infield, and that's partially thanks to Trey Sweeney playing infield in. Makes a crazy catch on a blooper. Dives into Riley Green on the ground, flips the ball back to the infield, stops the runner from tagging up. I fully acknowledge that, hey, maybe we're cheering for the Tigers right now to beat the Orioles around a little bit, and maybe we'll regret that if the Yankees end up playing the Tigers. I understand. It's a risk you take. I'll still take that Tigers win over the weekend 100 times out of 100, and I'm going to thank Trey Sweeney, who, not a Dodger, is a Tiger. He's not blowing the doors off offensively. He seems to be a winning baseball player so far, and he played a part in one of the craziest innings I have seen this season or in any other season.
Yeah, I have to fully agree on Rodon. It's clear that he's the number 2. That's just what it is. Like, at this point, you don't know entirely what you're going to get out of Luis Gil at this stage in the season. We know Nestor Cortez to be a little bit inconsistent and not a power pitcher, which is a bit of a problem when you are in a playoff game where you got to go toe-to-toe with some of the best hitters in the league. So I like the way that Rodon has turned his season around. We talked about that chunk of the year that was really bad for him. It started June 15th and went essentially through – it was a month. June 15th until the All-Star break. 5 innings, 5 earned, 3 2/3 innings, 7 earned, 5 innings, 8 earned, 5 1/3, 3 earned, not bad. 4 innings, 4 earned. How are you only pitching for 95 pitches through 4 innings and then 98 pitches through 4 innings in the start after that, which was the one that the Yankees choked right before the All-Star break against the Orioles in Baltimore with those 2 insane defensive miscues.
That game was so bad. Hey,
So bad.
Now that they're up 6 with 6 to play, look, nothing is locked up. You got to finish the job. But there was a time this weekend when I was like, man, they would have already clinched the East if not for that shit. And now I'm hopefully not thinking about that at all. Hopefully. I don't want to think about it, so I won't.
We will not. It was just for informational purposes. But since then, 7 innings, 1 earned, 6 1/3 innings, 2 earned, 5 1/3, 3 earned, 5 2/3, 0 earned, 1 bad one, 3 1/3, 4 earned, 6 innings, 0 earned, another bad one, 5 2/3, 5 earned. Then you head to September, 6 innings, 1 earned, 6 innings, 2 earns, 5 1/3 inning, 2 earned, 6 shutout. Again, can't ask for a better way to end the season after having that nightmare baked in between. And a lot of the question marks surrounding Rodon last year were his ability to bounce back from that. Was there something holding him back mentally? Or was it still a physical issue? We don't know. The body language wasn't great. I think he's responded to and look, these aren't against slouch opponents either. Over that stretch, he has faced the Rays, who are not bad. And I think to go 7 innings, 1 earned against the Rays is you deserve a pat on the back for that.
The Rays are also in the wild card race right now, by the way. You want to talk about scream bar if the Red Sox don't get eliminated. The Rays have the same record. The last time, the Red Sox increased their run differential with yesterday, pretty much. Yeah. They were at like 5. They were right at the borderline. Now they're a +9. So they're 78-78. Their expected win-loss is 79-77. The Rays are also 78-78. Based on the way they've played their season, their expected win-loss is 72-84. How do they do it? Stop doing it.
They always do it. It's witchcraft. It's analytical witchcraft. I want somebody from that, just somebody in that front office, like 2 rungs beneath Brian Cashman to humble Brian Cashman whenever some dumb shit comes across his desk that he thinks is fine. Just have the Rays guy in there just be like, nope. And then he has something easily to reference from his days in Tampa. And then he puts it on his desk. How about fuck you? How about you learn from this directly and we shoved it in your face 3 years ago? So that'd be nice. 7 innings, 1 earned against the Rays. I like that. In Boston, 6 1/3, 2 earned. Fuck you, Boston.
Good.
Shutout innings against the Rangers. Decent, not quality start against the Blue Jays, but it was a win. You had that one blow up against the Tigers, who literally have been the best team in baseball in the second half. So
that's another Minnesota Vikings series. You got owned in the Little League Classic and they beat up Carlos Rodon and Kiter Montero beat you. And you're like, we can't beat this weak ass Tigers team. Nobody else can either. Pretty good.
Nope. Shutout against Colorado. Did what he was supposed to do. You had another little hiccup against the Nationals. That was a weird series all around for this team. Another quality start against the Rangers. Got the job done against the Royals. Got the job done against the Red Sox again, and then gets the job done against Oakland. So yeah, you're not facing a gauntlet of playoff contenders there, but these have all been meaningful starts for the Yankees because of the manner in which the team was playing as a whole and the fact that they kind of needed wins from him this entire time because of the state of the pitching staff, guess what this team has gone over that stretch? 4-1, 5-2, 5-3. They're 8-3 in Carlos Rodon stretches, in Carlos Rodon starts over his last 11. So if he gets a semblance of run support, I think he pitches with a lot more confidence, and I think that will be key to the postseason. If not, if he doesn't get run support, I'm still fairly confident in him because, again, of that rebound. One more thing offensive-wise. If there is a way we can channel an awakening of any sort for Giancarlo Stanton and Anthony Volpe, I think that's the difference for this team. It just is. Like, Gleyber Torres, again, cannot stress enough how excellent he's been and how he's essentially turned his entire campaign around and maybe changed how he's going to be viewed in free agency, overcoming a lot of the issues that he had in New York as a player. So props to him. This is our leadoff hitter, and that's the way it's going to be. Aaron Boone, you get points too. You were right. We were unsure of it. You were right.
It was
Aaron
like a month ago, it may be a little more than a month ago, that I had trolls in my mentions every day being like, why does Gleyber Torres still play? You, Adam Weinrib, have the same WAR as Gleyber Torres. He's at 0. Isn't that an amazing point I just made? And now he's at 1.5 WAR, like a month later. Yeah. So I'll admit I was, worried about Gleyber Torres, but everybody thinks they have this amazing rhetorical. What are they going to do? Pull him midseason? Like, you're going to trade Gleyber Torres while you're fighting for the East? It was a possibility, but they smart. They decided not to mess with his head. They kept him in place. They changed his role, and they found the one that worked.
Yep. You got to give him credit, everybody credit, because usually that doesn't work out for them, or they don't press the right button. But here they did, and I will die on the hill that it was not unreasonable to potentially trade him.
No, totally reasonable.
Happening. But yeah, he's entrenched himself, leadoff hitter. You have Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. That's the best 1-2 punch in baseball. Austin Wells could be the rookie of the year. You have Jazz Chisholm, who's turning out to be one of the best trade deadline acquisitions. So Brian Cashman gets a pat on the back for that. Then you run into the rest of the lineup, right? And you're like, all right, you have a wild card in Jason Dominguez. If he can unleash his athleticism and be a threat on the base paths and run into a couple of sweet swinging lefty moments where he puts one over the fence, great. I don't think we need people like Dominguez, players like Dominguez and Rizzo. I think we just need to be average. Like, I need Rizzo putting up good at bats, putting the ball in play when he needs to, playing error-free defense. I need Jason Dominguez just covering ground in the outfield, using his speed on the base paths, electrifying the roster in some way with his athleticism. So I don't think the stakes are as high for those two guys. And I don't think, again, they don't need to be. Every player on this team does not need to be an all-star. But then you run into the bottom of the line, or not the bottom of the lineup, but you have Stanton in the middle, who's been slumping terribly, hits that homer on Saturday, and you're like, all right, Stanton power. It's unusual Stanton homer. Those are the ones we like to see that we think break him out of his funk. So you have that, and then you have Anthony Volpe, 3 hits on Friday, first multi-hit game since September 2nd. That's 20 days. That's almost 3 weeks. So there's something. And then Saturday, he homers 4 to 21 feet, longest of his Yankees career, as you mentioned. If these two guys can bring their trademark, whatever. Like, I don't think we know what Volpe's trademark is. We're still trying to figure that out. Fans are very excited about Giancarlo Stanton. They love his presence in the postseason. I would also agree with that. The at-bats change in the postseason when Giancarlo Stanton's at the plate. I think his presence is much larger and much more terrifying than it is in a regular season game when so many critics laugh at, just throw him sliders in the other batter's box. It's not going to work that way. It's a completely different game. But if Volpe, man, if we can get that mix of that power contact that we've been – and again, don't need him to bat 350, don't need him to slug 600. It's like, can we get a little 260 action in here with a 450 slugging for a little stretch? All that matters, you get hot in the playoffs. Everybody kind of forgets about it and everything else. So if that is what can come to be, you solidify the middle of your lineup. You got Soto, Judge, Wells/Stanton. That is a gauntlet, with Gleyber at the top. And then you have Volpe lengthening the lineup in the 8-9 spot, doing what this organization has believed he could do. Am I confident in it? No. I mean, he hasn't showed us enough. This year might end worse offensively in more ways than last year did. And I think we'll wait for the chapter to close on the season before diving into that. But the 3-hit game, the return to the power that we haven't really seen all year. I don't know if he figured something out. I don't know if it's a fluky 2-game, 3-game thing. But if that is an element at the bottom of this lineup, that's the difference maker for this team. It really is, because you're going to have your nights where Soto and Judge, 2 for 8, couple singles, not going to move the needle. Somebody else is going to need to do something. And I know that that's not revelatory, but how many times have the Yankees gone into the playoffs relying on the middle of the order to carry the weight? Feels like it's been kind of since 2020 that's been the case. So if they can lengthen the lineup and sprinkle in this athleticism, it's a completely different team. And it's a really scary team. And like we've said, the AL is wide open. I'm more worried about the NL than anything else, but the task in front of us is the American League for now. And it's going to take a relentless offense to do it from start to finish. And to me, that's the X factor. Just have these guys have the trademark power from Stanton and have like semi above average play with the various elements that Anthony Volpe can bring to the table. And that's going to make this team really scary.
Yeah, they are entering the postseason without a big bad in front of them. We're still intimidated by the Astros, and you should be. And if you face the Astros, it's not going to be a walk in the park, and they might beat you. But they're not a 107-win, 108-win team right now. Yordan Alvarez is banged up. Like, there's reason to believe you can beat them. You should be, honestly, on paper, you match up well with them. You should beat them, but we'll see. You never know. You can make a case for the other AL playoff teams against the Yankees, but the Yankees are the American League favorite right now. And the only argument to the contrary is you're just saying like, well, Astros by default. Until they don't win it, I'm saying the Astros. Okay, and you're allowed to do that. But the Yankees don't have a behemoth Red Sox team in front of them right now. They don't have this mammoth Astros club. They've just got some legacy teams holding on, a scrappy Guardians team, and some upstarts from the AL Central, and that's the Orioles. The NL probably has the hairier opponents, but again, no series are won on paper. You got to win them on the field, and just because the Yankees match up well does not mean they are going to perform well. We'll see. One last playoff roster shuffle before we sign off. A couple changes are probably going to have to be made. Jake Cousins, the Yankees playoff roster power rankings right now. Jake Cousins had a spot sewn up, I would say. Then he felt something in his pec, left the Seattle game early. He hasn't had his command for probably about a week or two now. So, hey, was he feeling something in his pec already? Did he feel it in that Seattle game? What's the deal? Anyway, he's on the injury list. He's seeing some specialists. The belief is that he's going to be back for the postseason. But, look, if he's healthy, you carry him. But unpopular opinion, Jake Cousins, great numbers this year. He got the Yankees through some really dark times, and good job by Jake Cousins. You look at the full season, 2.37 ERA, 53 Ks in 38 innings, just a 1.05 whip. 7 walks in his last 5 1/3 innings, 11 in his last 14. He has not been the same guy in his last 15 games. Could have been pitching through injury. I'm not sure what it was, but I know that it's possible the best of Jake Cousins has already occurred. So you don't have enough bullpen depth to not carry him if he's healthy, but if he's not healthy, it's certainly possible that he ends up being one of those guys to carry the Yankees through the regular season, but not high leverage moments in the playoffs. That means Clayton Beeter is up. He felt like the longest of long shots about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago when he said he wanted to be considered for the playoff roster, and it was a real pat on the shoulder moment. But 7 innings, 2 hits, 12 Ks at AAA out of the bullpen. I wanted to see him yesterday. I understand why Ian Hamilton came on with the jam instead of Beeter. But when they had a 3-run lead, I kind of wanted to see Clayton Beeter do his thing. 7-4 in the 9th, I kind of wanted to see Clayton Beeter do his thing. I know why he didn't. And it would have been great if they had maybe extended that lead to 8 or 9. You get Luke Weaver out of there. You get Beeter in. Wasn't meant to be. We still have not seen him. You got to show me him in this Orioles series, especially if Cousins is not going to be ready. They're saying he will. I don't know about that. Lou Trevino shut down with a shoulder thing. That isn't even what he was rehabbing. He's not an option. Scott Effross technically is, but Beeter seems to be the highest upside guy who could potentially replace Cousins. Show me him. Also, Clay Holmes, completely useless, and Leiter Jr. handled mop-up duty pretty well on Saturday. 2 innings, a bunch of Ks. Doesn't make me confident in Leiter Jr., just makes me less confident in Holmes as time goes by. I think the Yankees can patchwork their way through this postseason with this current bullpen. It's not as much of a disaster as it was when Holmes was the closer and the buck stopped with him. That said, I don't see a world where they don't carry Leiter Jr. at this point, especially after the Cousins injury. Just got to hope you can get around using him, and then maybe he's competent when they do. Holmes, like we said earlier in the show, is almost in the same bucket right now. I don't know in what scenario you would use Clay Holmes in the playoffs. You go down the list of high leverage options. I'd rather see Nestor and Heel and Clark Schmidt over Clay Holmes if need be in any 2-run game in the 8th. I'd also rather see Clay Holmes on the road. Crazy, but true.
Yeah. I haven't crunched the numbers yet in terms of what pitchers are going to be here or not. But yeah, I think this is where being a manager comes in, right? You look at Clay Holmes and there hasn't been, and I will blame the team for this before I'll blame Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes didn't have enough time to work through whatever he was going through in a completely different role. And that was the peril of waiting as long as they did to move him out of that role. It was less than 20 days ago. So to think that the man is going to adjust from that big of a demotion emotionally and also like standard adjusting as a professional is crazy. And he hasn't. He's looked bad. He's had 2 good outings and the rest have been shaky. So at this point, I don't know what the danger of carrying him is. It's going to put the Yankees in a spot to probably use him when they shouldn't. And that's my worry. So you're better off just not carrying him because you don't even want to tempt Aaron Boone or the coaching staff to, I don't even want to see him in the 6th inning of a game we're leading by 2 or 3 runs. Like, no, it's not really an option at this point. So this is where being a manager, Aaron Boone can earn a lot of stripes here if he pushes the right buttons. Like the answer here is riding with whoever's hot. So if Clayton Beeter gives you a good fucking week and Clay Holmes does not, Clayton Beeter's on the postseason roster.
Yeah.
Like if you're looking at how this is not a power bullpen. Like a lot of these, like the Guardians, that's a bullpen that worries me. We talked about it last episode with Danny. Like they got maniacs in that bullpen, and they are really good in terms of velocity, in terms of mixing up their pitches, in terms of challenging hitters, and the Yankees don't have that. So they're going to have to lean on maybe what their other advantage is pitching depth from a length perspective. And you do have Marcus Stroman, who I think provides value. You have Nestor Cortez and Luis Heel. To me, the postseason rotation is Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon, Clark Schmidt, TBD if you're going to go with 4 starters. Any of these other scenarios, if you're leading a game long enough, you can call on one of those 3 guys to finish out 3 innings. It's no different than pitching the first 3 innings of a tightly contested playoff game, in my opinion. If anything, I understand the stakes might be a little bit higher, but would you rather go with Holmes, Clay Holmes can't even go 2 innings at this rate? He can't even come close to 2 innings. What use is that? And I see that they've been stretching Leiter out a little bit more to use him maybe as the last guy to eat a few innings, which is great. But like they don't have other, like Luke Weaver can, but how much further are you going to stretch Luke Weaver? You're using him a lot, using him in a lot of high leverage situations, and have used him in a lot of multi-inning situations. So he's going to run out of gas at some point. And it's the preservation game right now. And then you have Ian Hamilton, who I love, but injured most of the year. Don't know how much runway is there to do high leverage innings throughout another month of baseball if it comes to that. So, yeah, the more that I look at it, it's just you finish out the week and whoever's the hottest is going, because you can't take any chances on that front. And that's not making an ill-advised decision. You have a lot of evidence with Clay Holmes. You have a lot of evidence with Mark Leiter Jr. at this point. It's not good. So if you have to make a quick change like that, and an abrupt one, and a difficult one. It needs to happen. So we'll talk more in depth about that maybe later this week or early next week. But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, Clay Holmes is going to need a massive 3 outings over these next 6 games to really shift the discussion there.
Yeah, well, let's clinch soon. That's the most fun part of experimentation week. I miss when they used to clinch and they'd have like 40 guys up because the 40-man roster would come up and you'd have like Juan Miranda starting against the Boston Red Sox, and then they'd still win. And you'd be like, what the hell's going on? Is baseball really easy? I miss when they just expand the bullpen like crazy. We get to see a whole bunch of nonsense. But Clayton Beeter has a chance to be that guy this week. So you couldn't get him in on the road in Oakland. Maybe he flew in late. I don't know the mechanics of all that. But he's got to get in against the Orioles this week. Don't bring him up just to sit him. Don't do what you did with Yorbit Vivas at the All-Star break. Like, if Beeter's up, don't make it just be because Jake Cousins is injured. Like, let me see what he has. Show me what he has, because the Yankees are in a good position, but they've got some time to acquire some more data, and they probably should do that because good teams learn up until the final minute of the regular season, especially if they are postseason bound. The Pirates series, you want to have clinched everything at that point. You want it to mean absolutely nothing. So Paul Skeens can just go to town on you. We can have some fun. I'm phrasing.
Beat my ass, Clay Holmes. I'm sorry.
Well,
Paul Skeens.
Yeah. Look, either one of them, whoever has to eat it, that's fine. Well, thanks for joining us. We will see you on Thursday. The Yankees have 2 games in between then and now. We may or may not have clinched the AL East. We may or may not have clinched the number 1 seed, depending on how Cleveland performs. Cincinnati, you guys want to rally behind your interim manager after David Bell got fired. Let's see what Ellie De La Cruz has in store. I don't know. The Yankees probably going to have to win some games. And the Pirates series probably will matter for seeding purposes a little bit, even if they clinch against the Orioles. But let's get some work done. Let's win some more baseball games. One day at a time helped against the Red Sox. Let's do one day at a time. If you lose this first game against the O's, shake it off. Win on Wednesday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, happy flight home. The Yankees tweeted a fun photo of everybody boarding the plane yesterday, and the pilot was just like fist pumping in it for some reason. I don't know why they included that, but cool pilot. Got the Yankees home safely, low turbulence. Probably when he got through the cloud cover, he gave a fist pump to himself too. And then went on the intercom and was like, guys, just freaking nailed it. And he probably was hoping for some cheers from the crowd. I don't know if he got them. But we will see you again on Thursday to talk about the results of the first 2 O's games and any playoff roster changes. I am Adam Weinrib. You can find me on Twitter at Adam Weinrib. Thomas Carannante, where can the people find you?
I am at Tommy's_takes. We are both at the official Yanks Go Yard Twitter account at Yanks Go Yard FS. Don't forget about Underdog Fantasy. The code is Go Yard. If you want to get in on the action, please head on over to yanksgoyard.com. That's where the written content is. We're having a great time informing you of everything you possibly need to know leading up to the end of this regular season and into the playoffs. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That would be great. Very small favor you could do for us. We'd appreciate it. And until then, we'll talk to you on Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern live right here. Middle of that Orioles series. Hopefully the job is done and we're popping more champagne.
Feel good. And by the way, if they do clinch, I want that celebration to be large. Don't hold back. Do it again. The celebration police about, they celebrated the wild card berth, the playoff clinch too early, and they're going to, run out of juice. And they went to Oakland and just played maybe 3 of the most complete games they've played all year, and they looked awesome. So if you get another chance to celebrate again, you should do it. And you should remember how good that feels. You should try to celebrate the DS, CS, and World Series as well, because celebrating is good. So let's make this 2 of 5, and let's get all 5. Let's collect them all. We'll see you on Thursday. Take care until then.